You know, these days, when you're looking to advance your career, it is not just who you know, it is who knows you. It's the idea of sponsorship within a company, who's willing to back you as an employee. So joining me this morning, Puget Sound Business Journal editor Emily Parkhurst and UW business professor Kate Goethals. Good morning to both of you. Great to have you this morning.
Thanks for having us.
So, Emily, you wrote an article in PSBJ about Steve Ballmer and a sponsorship program that he was involved in. So what did you glean from that?
You know, I wouldn't necessarily call it a sponsorship program, but what Steve did was he identified some folks within the ranks of Microsoft when he was the CEO there who he wanted to see move up. And what he would do is basically advocate for them behind the scenes. He would make sure that they got access to special projects and had an opportunity to shine. And in doing so, you know, identified some folks who were women and who were underrepresented minorities within the company and helped them kind of rise up through the ranks. One of those folks was Satya Nadella, who ultimately ended up being the CEO of Microsoft. So his program, you know, while Microsoft comes under a lot of criticism for not having enough, you know, women and minorities in top ranks, they are better than a lot of other technology companies. And from what I understand, Steve Ballmer had a big part of that.
So we're always told that you should try to find yourself a mentor, somebody that you would like to learn from, someone who potentially could, you know, kind of teach you the ropes of whatever industry you're getting involved in. What's the difference between a sponsorship and a mentorship?
Sure. So, you know, a mentorship is usually very intentional. You know, the mentor will sit down and work one-on-one with the person on a pretty regular basis. A sponsorship is more behind the scenes. Tends to be somebody who is advocating for you, usually a boss or a colleague, who is suggesting that you might be a good person, for example, to sit on a board of directors or to, you know, get a promotion.
Kate, is this something you talk about in class?
We do. I think there's a lot of confusion between mentoring and sponsoring. You know, anybody can mentor.
Right.
You know, that's just giving someone a piece of advice, and, you know, that doesn't necessarily have to be very formal. It's, as you know, but a sponsor is somebody that takes a risk on you.
Okay, so what do you tell the students in your class about, you know, getting involved in this sort of thing?
Well, I tell them to try to become known quantities. You know, you need those opportunities to shine, to stand out.
Sure.
And when people see you shine and stand out, they're more likely to sponsor you.
And it becomes a reciprocal thing, right? I mean, you go under someone's wing, and then you get to a point where you can help someone else out down the road, and so it works that way. Here's a question: does it increase diversity in the workplace?
Well, I think the example with Steve and Satya and the people Steve was sponsoring, I think that's the exception, not the rule. In general, people tend to sponsor those that they trust. And in general, people trust others like themselves because they understand them better.
Right. Okay. So in a boardroom setting, for example, if you have a bunch of, you know, I guess board members or whatever, a lot of times they're going to be old white guys. I mean, that's just the kind of the way it is in this country. So the idea would be, ultimately, to get more women involved in these type of programs, to raise them up and you know, ethnic diversity.
And I think also from the other side, the people who are doing the sponsoring need to be more intentional about sponsoring people unlike themselves.
It's an interesting idea. Emily Parkhurst, Kate Goethals, thank you so much for coming on this morning and chatting about that. We appreciate it.